Alright, just a few more features and... yeah, I think I'll just quit. Around 90% of solo game devs quit before finishing their game. So, if you want to guarantee your game never sees the light of day, just make sure to follow all these mistakes.
Who are you talking to right now? Do you know how much I make a year? I am in danger, Skylar.
Alright, to start things off, I decided to split these mistakes into three main categories: pre-development, during development, and post-development. Now, technically some of these mistakes overlap. You could argue that a pre-dev mistake can come back to haunt you during development or even after launch. But to keep things simple, I will just stick them where they fit best. And hey, if you disagree, that's what the comments are for. Without any further delay, let's talk about pre-development. So, you want to make a game, but you don't really know what you want to make. If it's your first game with zero to no experience, what's the first idea that pops into your head? That's right, I'm gonna make my dream game. Yeah, that's mistake number one. Here's the problem. Your dream game is probably inspired by a game that took a bunch of people, years of work, and tons of money to make. Meanwhile, you're just one person sitting there with your computer, some tutorials, and a whole lot of ambition. So how on earth do you think you're going to pull that off?
We'll use the power of friendship.
And even if you do manage to finish it, first of all, congratulations, you're insane. But the harsh truth is, it will probably just feel like a worse version of the game you were inspired by. So what's the better approach? Starting small.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. You've probably heard this advice a million times already. And honestly, I didn't listen to it either. I went straight for a big project because making a tiny game just didn't excite me. And we all know how that ended. But here's the trick. Instead of trying to recreate your entire dream game, just take one feature from it and build a small game around that. You still get to scratch the itch of working on something you love, but in a way that's manageable, finishable, and actually fun to make. Now let's say you actually listened to that advice, or you tried your dream game, failed, and now you're wondering what to do next. Here's where most solo devs hit mistake number 2, not having a plan. Arguably the most important part of making a game is the planning stage. If your entire plan is just, I want to make a shooter game, and then you start adding random features as you go, well, congratulations. You have just walked straight back into mistake number 1, overscoping. A proper plan makes development way faster, because instead of wandering aimlessly, you've got a roadmap of milestones to hit. Think of it like quest objectives. Your main quests are the must-have features your game can't live without, and side quests are nice to have polish or extra content. This way, you always know what's actually bringing you closer to finishing your game. And your plan doesn't have to be a giant 50-page design document either. It could be a feature list, a few clear goals, or even just a notepad file with bullet points. The key is, give yourself structure so you're not stuck endlessly experimenting without ever knowing when to stop.
Stop it. Get some help.
Now let's say you've got a solid plan for the next trending game and you finally start developing. What mistakes can trip you up during this stage? The first one is ignoring playtesting. A lot of solo devs just keep coding and adding features without ever letting anyone else touch the game. The problem is, you, as a developer, are the worst possible playtester. You already know how everything works, you know the controls, you know the mechanics, and you probably have a specific way you want people to play. But the moment someone else tries your game, they're gonna break it. Or worse, they'll just get bored. You can't fix problems you don't even know exist. So, the earlier you get feedback, the more time you save. And speaking of playtesting, if you want to support me or playtest my new game Sky Defense, check out my Patreon where I post early builds, behind the scenes, and early YouTube videos. Now with that shameless plug out of the way, let's get back to it. Playtesting is indeed super important, but how can you release a playtest version when you don't even have a finished game? That's where the second mistake of the development phase occurs, deciding what to actually work on. Assuming you probably planned out your goals, a lot of devs skip straight past the main quests and go grind side quests. And by side quests, I mean polish. Now don't get me wrong, side quests in games are a great source of leveling up. But when you're actually making a game, you only have so much energy. And especially at the start, that energy bar is full. But it drains with every day you work. So instead of burning that energy polishing a UI button or adding fancy animations, focus on the main mechanics first. They don't need to look good, they just need to work. Because once you have a working core, building on top of it is way easier than trying to glue a core into a bunch of half-finished polished features. Now that you've managed to avoid all these mistakes and actually finished your game, is there anything left to mess up? Oh yeah, that stage has some of the most important mistakes of all. The first one is avoiding marketing. You could make the greatest game in the world, but if no one knows it exists, it might as well not exist. Some people argue marketing should start during development or at the very beginning, and sure, things like devlogs or posting progress on social media help, but by far the most important moment for marketing is right before launch, specifically reaching out to streamers and YouTubers. Because if you can get them to cover your game, that means more eyeballs, more wishlists, and in turn, Steam boosts your game with more visibility. So don't wait until release day. Reach out at least a month before launching your game so content creators have time to actually fit your game into their schedule. There's a bunch of other marketing strategies too, but that's for another video. And that leads me to the final mistake: skipping or rushing polish. Earlier I said polish isn't important when you're just starting out, but at the end, it's the #1 priority. You don't want to send a buggy, unpolished game to content creators.
You finally realized, and it was wrong. What sick thing you got going on here?
Best case, they ignore it. Worst case, they make a video showing how broken it is and people won't even consider buying it. You only have one shot. And this is where all that early playtesting pays off. If you've had playtesters from the start, you already know what needs fixing and what needs polishing. And with that, congratulations, you've officially made it to the end of the journey. Now, success isn't guaranteed. There is a lot of other factors, like your genre, your audience, and your timing. Just know that if your game doesn't blow up, that's not failure. Almost no successful dev nailed it with their first or even second game. The key is to learn from mistakes, listen to feedback, and keep improving each time until eventually you hit that breakthrough. And most importantly, don't forget to have fun making the games you love. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any topic you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments. And with that, I'll see you later.